I want to welcome to the studio superstar of Broadway stage and screen. She is Tony Award winner and Emmy actress, Tonya Pinkins. Yay! Say hey, Tonya.
Hey! Oh, I was applauding myself.
You know when you love the sound of the applause.
Exactly.
Whole live theater. And Tonya Pinkins from Gotham fame, and of course, All My Children, and of course, Broadway, Caroline or Change, and Jelly's Last Jam, and I'll let her tell you the
As
rest.
the World Turns, and Madam Secretary, and I don't know, Beat Street, and Above the Rim.
My gosh, yes. Yes. I forgot about those. She has like these massive, massive accolades. I'm just pleased to be able to
We're from Chicago. We both from Chicago.
Hey, hey. Chicago girls, best girls in the world. That's the way they used to sing that. And I also had the chance to sit down with the lady over lunch, and she is Dawn Lewis, currently on Broadway in Tina. We will hear her interview in the next segment. And joining us in studio is the iconic, the one and the only, Mr. Carl Clay, who is the founder of the Black Spectrum Theater in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Welcome to you.
All right now. Thank you.
You are welcome. I wanted us to have a conversation today about overcoming exceeding odds, because you all have sustained and yourselves in an industry that is seemingly impossible. The odds are so slim. One in every, I don't know how many they say really make it on Broadway, as they say, and in theater and to television. And here you both sit, having done that. Right, Tonya?
Yes.
You're a girl from the South Side of Chicago.
I sure do be.
How do you end up on Broadway winning Tony Awards?
It really, starts with dreaming of it, And I have to say, my mother did not approve of that. She would always tell me, get your head out the clouds. She would scream at me. It was not a approved of thing, but I dreamed myself out of my home and onto the screen of All My Children. I used to watch it from the time I was 7 years old, and I dreamed of living in Pine Valley. And I grew up, and 25 years later, I was in Pine Valley as Livia Fry Cudahy. So I do think it begins with the dream, and I think about these kids today with these devices that there's so many things that are being put into their mind, and they need to focus a little attention on how much is coming out of them. That where your attention goes, your energy grows, and that is what you build.
Yes.
So you got your dreams that you want to come out, not just all these things other people are putting into you.
Did you face challenges? Like you said, Mama even said, go get your head out of the clouds. Okay. But here you are, this uber talented young woman. I mean, even in high school. I mean, like Tonya was supreme in high school. Okay, I'm here to tell you because I was there. And it was very evident of your shine.
Thank you.
And a lot of people are afraid of that. What did you encounter? You said agreed. Come on, say more.
Well, no, I say that because I think I was afraid of the shine. And I think I'm just at 57 starting to understand what that is and to be able to honor that. I had a meeting for something that I was interested in, and it was the first time that I was in a meeting with people where I was aware that I was shining. I could feel it, and they were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I was like, at the end of it, I was like, so are you going to offer me this job? And the director went, and I knew in that moment that they weren't.
That's right.
And I walked out of there and I thought, you know what? I want to work with people who want to work with me when I'm shining.
Amen.
Yeah. And I haven't always shined when I went into rooms. I even had I'm part of something called the Actors Center, and they have someone who's a member who gives you like free career coaching. And my free career coaching was that I needed to stop intimidating people. I needed to stop getting into rooms and letting people know all that I had done and all that I could do. I needed to just show up and be quiet and do my job. And I thought, well, that's not gonna happen.
I was going to say, how did that work out for you?
That's not gonna happen. So, the shine is something that the world often either wants to steal or they want to shut it down. So it takes a lot to be able to stand in that.
It's so interesting that you bring that up, because I'll never forget working at this job one time. It was just I was a consultant doing marketing, and the director of the place said, it was this theater in New York, in the Poconos, and he said, "We need to have a talk." And I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "When you come around, everybody starts moving faster, like shaking, like." And I said, "Well, I say please and thank you." He said, "That's not what I'm talking about, and you know it." And that was the first time I had to assess the exactly what's. And I said to myself, "Well, all I can do is hand them some shade, because
Well, but I gotta jump on that one too, because I had a lot of shame about the fact that I had done my first August Wilson play working with Lloyd Richards right out of acting school. Was piano lesson, and I did the part of Grace, who has these two little scenes, and she's just on the couch. He wants to sleep with her, and they didn't take me to Broadway, and I carried a lot of shame about that for a lot of years. And then from now where I look back and go, now what were you doing wrong? Well, when I ended my last scene, I got exit applause every night, and that character wasn't meant to shine like that. So, even in my early career, it was like, oh, yeah, no, you shining too much. You're not supposed to shine. So, I didn't know that that's what it was. I thought there was something I was doing wrong.
Okay, Carl, you own a black theater, or you own a theater, not just a black theater. You own a theater. The Black Spectrum Theater has been around. Speak to what Tonya's talking about here. And let me tell you why. Because there's some little kid in the backseat of a car right now, and some high school student who's next to their mom sitting in a chair right now, and they're trying to figure that out.
Okay, so what I have discussed with other directors, other producers, and in my own experience, what I try to tell young people is to keep in mind that when you audition, you do everything that you can do to be the best that you can be, but never take it personal about how you have performed, in a sense that sometimes it's the director or the producer saying, this is what I had in mind, not what the person did or didn't do. It's just what they have in mind. So it really isn't, sometimes it's a choice. Sometimes the actors make the difference in terms of a choice of an actor or actress. But a lot of times, you come with, this is what I'm looking for, and it doesn't have a lot to do with just whether or not you did something wrong. It had to do with what they were looking for. Okay. So that's what I would say to a young actor or actress. But the idea of shining and doing the best that you can do is always, to me, it's a powerful thing, and I don't think anybody should ever strive to do anything less than doing the best that they can do.
I'm pointing at my producer because she's a star and she shines too.
Okay, so I mean, if that helps, that's it. It's a little bit of sometimes it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that. It's never, again, it's an art. It's not an exact science. So.
And I had a friend. Her name is Donna Murphy, and I sent her to audition for another friend of mine for a play he was producing, and he didn't hire her. And it was for like a kind of backup thing. And I was like, "How do you not hire? The girl is brilliant." He was like, "Yeah, she was just so perfect. I didn't feel like I could add anything to that." And it's like, oh my God, And I feel like it's rare that you find like people like Carl Clay or George C. Wolfe who think of an ensemble as a whole group of stars on stage where every time you look somewhere, there's somebody shining. People are trying to make these Starbucks shows now where everything is the same one everywhere, and they're sort of trying to find all the people that are the same version of something. So when you go to this town, you get the same thing, and they're forgetting that America, in terms of theater and musical theater, we had the iconic one-offs, and that they're losing that sense of what this art can be to make things that are standardized.
Well, see, this is why I've always appreciated this woman's mind and her talent, because she sees things that other people don't see.
That's correct.
And every producer is not going to see it. Every director is not going to see it. She's an actress who's also been a director, and I assume, and so everybody doesn't see that. But, I started with the understanding that it's always about the ensemble, and it's never about one person in that respect. I mean, that's the way I was brought up and, and trained in the theater. But, the idea of somebody making a choice specific to a particular play. I mean, we live in an age now where everything is about the dollars and the cents and the this and the
art
that.
Can't be art.
Yeah.
So let me ask the big question. Here's the big one. Do you feel that you had been received that way because you were black? How would that talent have been looked upon had you not been black? I'll sit back.
Well, I think that this is what someone I respect greatly says. He says that the business doesn't necessarily want your brilliance. They want you to put your brilliance on their stupidity. And so I think,
write that down. Y'all.
were I able to shine, but I didn't have the mind and the mouth that I have, then maybe they would have said, we can put her on a leash and trot her out.
She's a think.
On the mouth. On the mouth.
She is a thinking actress, and most producers, when you talk about commercial, you're not talking about a lot of. They don't want the thought process to go behind into the character. It's do this, do that. This is what I want, and that's it. So you become a hired hand in that respect.
Yeah, and I'm not a paper doll.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just I'm not able to be that.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in being that. I mean, it's like, where's my humanity? But that works. And if that is what your nature is, good for you. I don't have that nature.
That's generally the way it is throughout the whole field.
Right, and
here white actors say that, the whole thing. So
herein lies the challenge then about the day-to-day struggle. And people don't ever get a behind-the-scenes glimpse of what it is you have to endure to get to be the one who's chosen, and what you've had to fight through, and what you have had to say no to, and all of and even if somebody says yes to you, how many no's did you say?
I love the line about the stupidity of it, because I was talking to Yaphet Kotto once, and he was talking about a part that he had to play in a movie, and the director, he said, was a total idiot, and he asked him to do something that was like going back maybe 10 decades in terms of how black people are supposed to respond to something, and he said he wanted to literally knock this guy out, because it was like, I'm smarter than that. I'm no idiot. He wouldn't do this, but he's hired to do exactly that. So either you walk away or you work, and actors are always forced in between this dichotomy of do you work or do you walk,
Right. Well, Tonya, you've been doing a lot of work. Tell us about it.
Well, I'm going to say, because I want to stay on this for one more second, is that the gift that was given to me about 4 years ago, I worked with an Israeli director, Tali Shalom Ezer, on a film called My Days of Mercy, and I think it's out right now. And Tali kept saying, Tonya, could you do less? Tonya, could you just do less? Could you say this? Can you throw it away? And she kept giving me these notes like this. I'm not doing anything. I'm like a little supporting character. And on a break, we were sitting down, and she said, Tonya, you're just meant to be a star. She said, when you're on screen, I can't take my eyes off you, and it's not your movie. And so it was like it ended up redirecting me and cutting it so that I was never on screen with the stars who I shared all the scenes with. It would be like it would be on my back. And it was a gift to me for her to say it, because there have been so many times where I didn't get jobs, or I got brought into something and then they wrote me off. And it was like for someone going, because you're good. And then you make the other people look bad. So, we got to get rid of you.
Oh my gosh. Who would have ever thought that would be a challenge? That being too good.
would be a problem.
Well, I got to say,
Say.
Harold Wheeler's a friend of mine, and he used to talk about the voice. What was the one? What's it called? American Idol.
Oh, yes.
And he
yeah.
said we never saw the best singers on American Idol
Right.
because they could not make a show and a season if they brought the best people on. Because the best people you would have known from the moment they came on.
Yes.
They
Right.
got to win. So they would always pick these middling people so that it could look like a season.
Mm-hmm.
And we got all these people who didn't get on there because they were too good
That's
to be
Yes.
on there.
That's right. That's right.
And I hear a lot of people who audition for American Idol who never get chosen.
Right, too good for it.
Too good for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's something to. I'm concerned about the dreamers
Mm.
and what that spirit of being too good does to hamper the dreamers.
It's politics. It's the politics of art. It's the politics of theater. I think that politics plays a big part in it, because when you're good and you, as you were just saying, you have all these people who were great and didn't get a chance to go on, that somebody makes those decisions, and when you control a certain atmosphere, whether you talk about a channel or a show or whatever, you get to make those choices. So here, somebody else is making those choices and manipulating things to their own benefit so that they can make more money, sell more commercial time, and this,
Right.
that, and the other.
Right, because
So-
if you're super talented and there's just one of you, well, darn, I can't really just sell that. But I
Right.
got 5 people that are like in this little midland range, and if I can sell them as fabulous, then you got to go away.
Right.
So
There's-
what's our workaround?
Making our own things,
There we go.
which Carl has been doing for 50
Talk about it,
years.
Carl.
Yeah. Well, at a very, very early age, call it being headstrong or whatever you want to call it, but the idea is how do we create something for ourselves in that respect? How do we create an atmosphere in which you're not being told, oh, that's too controversial, or that's there's too much of this or too much of that. So you try to create an atmosphere where you can do basically what you want to do in that respect. Even that, though, has its challenges in terms of what I have always thought of doing our own thing. Sometimes is dictated by the communication and the knowledge level of your audience.
Yes.
So a lot of times people will come into our theater now, different generations, and they'll simply say, oh, well, why don't you put on something like, what Tyler Perry had? Because that's what I'm used
Well,
to.
first, tell us about the Black Spectrum Theater.
Black Spectrum Theater is about to celebrate its 50th year of operation.
He doesn't look old enough, does he?
You know?
Oh, gosh, no.
And, we started very early on this, very early. And we've produced well over 400 productions.
Wow.
We've trained well over 3,000 people in acting, and we've made 26 films. We have outdoor mobile stages that get used by the different organizations throughout the city to put on their events. We break new playwrights. We present classic black theater, and we do experimental stuff. The idea is to give people a chance to show what they have to offer and do it for our community.
Yes.
And zero in on that community. That's been
And
my
I just
goal.
love how the Black Spectrum Theater is such a community theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I am glad to be able to present an Ask the Good Doctor live event there on Sunday, April 19th from 2 to 5 in Jamaica, Queens. So to RSVP or to be a vendor, send me an email at askthegooddoctor@msn.com.